r/AskReddit. What is the scariest experience you have ever had online? Does over the phone count from the dial-up days? I once was talking with my sister in the kitchen when the phone rang. Caller ID said unknown number. I picked it up, and all I heard was a recording of our voices saying something we had said just a minute earlier in our conversation. After about 15 seconds of it, I suddenly heard this loud static whine screeching noise, and then the call cut out. I was thoroughly spooked. Edit. Let me just clarify things. I was talking with my sister in person. We were both sitting in the kitchen, speaking to each other face to face. My wife got one of these calls only yesterday. The mystery caller asked if she had a tight baldy aunt. She said yes. He's laid on the couch, I'll go wake him for you. This is what the perfect marriage looks like. I was in high school, and I had swollen lymph nodes around my nether regions. I took pictures from all kinds of angles, so I could show the doctor after school without having to expose myself in person. Fast forward to computer class, and I'm logging into my Google account to pull up my PowerPoint on the projector. As I'm trying to log into Drive, to my terror, I see 5 thumbnails of my junk displayed in the queue for auto upload to Google+. Luckily, no one noticed. I was always the weirdo outcast kid. So if the other students caught wind that this happened, my life would have been over promptly. A good rule when using a projector is to extend your screen rather than clone it. The second screen will be blank until you put something on it. Or just don't plug that hit in until you're actually going to use it. The first time I illegally downloaded music when I was 10 years old. I was convinced I was going to prison. I told my parents to tell the cops it was an accident if they came. I hid in my room for half of that day. I printed a picture of Tinkerbell when I was 8 or so, but it had a watermark of the artist's license or whatever saying not to distribute it without the artist's permission. I ripped the picture up into tiny little pieces and threw them away in different trash cans because I thought I broke the law. I was convinced the police were going to arrest me. Hahaha. I had a similar experience. I found a leaflet of local politician on the street when I was like 6 and drew him horns, mustache, sharp teeth and silly looking eyes. Brought it to kindergarten. And after seeing this, our babysitter teacher was pretty pissed. She then told me to throw it away and never do that again. I was so scared I ripped it into multiple pieces and hid it in multiple places. I was 200% sure I'm going to jail. Not scary exactly, but made me keep a gun closer to me for a bit. This was like 2010. StarCraft 2 had just come out. I was arguing with a dude that was raging and threatening me. There was brief pause in the conversation, and I thought it was over. Then he came back and said hello. Actually, I'll name. You still think I can't find you? You think you can hide from me? I told him I wasn't hiding, and he should walk through my front door because I left it unlocked for him. To this day I have no idea how he found out my real name. That's the real way to handle it. I'm going to come to your house and duck with you. Me, I got a .38 that says you are not. You got a talking .38. I got a pop-up once that informed me I had underage pornography on my computer, which I did not, and the police were on their way to my house. It instructed me to call a 1-800 number. When I read the first line of "you have child pornography on your computer," my heart stopped beating and I froze. But then I was like, how would calling a 1-800 number help me? It was then I realized it was a scam. Still pretty terrifying. Back when I was younger and just learning about computers, I was screwing around on the computer and it errored out saying something along the lines of "the computer has encountered an illegal operation and needs to shut down." I called my dad upset thinking the police were on the way and that I was in trouble. He thought it was hilarious. Same thing happened to me minus phone call. I just panicked and closed everything and stopped using the computer. Lol. Duck you Windows 95/98. You couldn't have named it something else? There was multiple posts of me on some chat site asking people in my area if anyone had nudes of me, and someone detailed a fantasy of raping me. The part that freaked me out is that they had taken pictures of my face off of social media. I deleted a massive amount of stuff online after that. Edit. For those asking how I found out about it. Another girl had been previously victimized on the site and visited it regularly trying to collect more evidence for a police investigation. I don't know much about the details, but I guess she had substantial proof of who was behind it. She recognized me and sent it to me. The grossest part about this is that it is probably someone on your friends list / you follow. Like potentially someone you know IRL. Statistically, 83% of ape victims know their attackers in some way. So that is likely regardless of the nature of it. Source, prevalence, incidents, and consequences of violence against women US Department of Justice NCJ 183781. I'm pretty sure I got groomed as a kid. Back in the good ol' MSN days, when I was 11 and new to the internet and just added any old randomer on Messenger to chat to. Ended up talking to this girl ostensibly from Canterbury in Kent. I'm from St Helens in Merseyside. 4 non-UK redditors read about 4 hours away. Got to the point where she demanded that I traveled down to where she was because I was now her boyfriend. Sent her one picture of me and never received one back from her. Obviously being naive and young at the time, I just stopped talking to her somewhere along the line and didn't think anything of it, but thinking back now I'm pretty sure that was a pedophile. Don't like the thought of being in a non-cis wank bank tbh. I cringe when I think of all the probable pedophiles I spoke to on MSN and online chat rooms when I was a kid. I seeked them out back in the days for XL attention. There was this prank back in 2004 when people on the internet were asking each other to search for Lalita on Alta Vista Images search engine. As I remember correctly, I had no idea what Lalita means, so I searched for it, and instead of results I got the information telling me that my IP is being tracked and police has been notified because I'm obviously searching for a child porn. As a naive teenager, I was terrified. For those who don't know, Lalita is a book, probably a movie too, about a dude who falls in love with a child. It is a pretty weird read because the way the author portrays it is very convincing for the reader to agree with him. But obviously the dude is a pedo. The way in which the narrator is portrayed is far from sympathetic. Though, despite what its title came to evoke, Lalita is not at all a celebration of pedophilia. When my username and password started appearing in Russian pasta bin files, and I was getting emails from Have I Been Warned, I was like it. Installed LastPass had it automate changing all my passwords to random characters and stuff. Turned on 2-factor authentication on as many apps / websites as I could. I still get emails to this day from Origin, in particular of people trying to log into my account from China and Russia. Prostituvak. Played an online game called Habbo when I was 9. Apparently someone hated me, and that person made new avatars with variations with my username, except with insults in it, and copied my outfit every single time. He got kicked a lot. And said person threatened with, "I know where you live. I will find you." I cried. Edit. I will find you. He will come to where I live and do something. Pools closed. Sorry. It's a ducking ancient meme, sir. But it checks out. I met somebody on a game when I was 15 years old. He was much older than I was, maybe late 20s. And he lived one state away from me. I gave my phone number out to anybody back then. I liked texting people. I was texting this guy and sending him innocent pictures of myself per his request. He started demanding that I send him naked pictures of myself, which I wasn't comfortable with. I stopped texting him because those type of people irritated me. He messaged me with my full address one day and asked me if it was familiar. He told me he was going to hunt me down, kidnap me, ape me, and let his dog lick peanut butter off my body if I didn't send him the pictures he wanted. I kept asking him how he got my address, as he only knew my first name. Turned out since we both had Apple iPhones, he could track my location via the pictures I sent him. It was ducking terrifying. I changed my number and haven't given my number out on the internet since. Edit. Grammar and one detail. It's not just iPhones. Most pictures have that kind of data attached to the mic. It's called EXIF data. Google Photos uses it to show you a map of where you took pictures. It can also create a story based on where you've taken pictures. Imagine my parents' surprise when they went to Florida. And when they got back, Google Photos created a travel diary for them. When I was a bit more naive about the internet, a pop-up came up from Cheshire Police. I'm from the UK and Cheshire isn't too far from where I live, claiming my computer had been flagged for downloading child porn amongst other things. I could not get the pop-up to go away without forcing my computer to shut down. It gave me the option of paying a PS 100 fine. I booted my computer back up and googled the whole thing. Quite a few forums were talking about it as a scam, and someone pointed out to me that the police wouldn't give you the option to pay PS 100 to make downloading child porn okay. Nor would they give you some sort of online warning. I still felt really nervous for a couple of hours before eventually fully accepting I wasn't actually in any sort of trouble. But it was pretty scary when it popped up. Just to be clear, I absolutely have no downloaded nor viewed child porn in any way. The way those pop-ups work is they request your location, country, city, etc. via your IP address, and then display that on the screen. That's how it usually gives you areas in pop-ups that you either live near or live in. So what you're saying is there actually aren't any hot singles in my area? Great, next you're going to tell me that Bang Bus isn't real. That old spam email video of an empty room with some kind of caption like "This is where she killed herself," and after 45 seconds of nothing, this exorcist looking girl pops up in front of the camera. Middle school. Classic. That and the old ghost caught on camera hid where nothing happens and then it goes like, "Did you see that? Look closely," and then boom. For seduced by a screamer. A grossly accurate description. I recently posted this on another thread. This guy I very briefly dated won't leave me alone. I've blocked him on everything. And he keeps finding cracks to slip through. Long story short, he played weird games and I wasn't into it. I told him that I didn't want to talk to him and to not contact me anymore. He said he wouldn't, then continued to bombard me with spam-like messages about everything from what he was watching on TV to the weather. I blocked him on my phone. Months after doing this, I found a voicemail from him in my blocked messages folder. It was new. He tried friending me on Facebook. I blocked him. He posted a missed connection on Craigslist with my first name and city saying he missed me. He super liked me on Tinder. I've blocked him multiple times in a Cupid. He just deletes the account and messages me on a new one. The last message was Friday. He hasn't seen me since June. I just wonder what crack he'll slip through next. Or if he'll try to show up at my home or work. Tell his mom. For real. Most times a guy getting a call from their mother that a girl told them he is stalking her and he should stop. He would at least take the request more seriously. Yes. And if his mother is a police officer, you can kill two birds one stone. Edit. OMG, I just came back to look at this. My highest rated comment is now about one of my worst experiences, lol. Great. Edit 2. Gold. Thanks so much, kind redditor. Late to the thread, but what the hell. Story time. My time to shine. This was nearly 20 years ago. When I was 11 years old, back in the days of dial-up internet, back when 15-second porn clips were 240p and got the job done. I used to save them to floppy drives. Anyway, I was 11, and my parents went to a wedding out of state for 10 hours. I figured it was the perfect time to start perfecting my masturbation techniques. I found this website, and I'll never forget the URL even 19 years later, nudecelebs.com. This was such a joke, but man did I have the hots for Britney Spears. Anyway, I went on the website, clicked yes a bunch of times, and what I didn't realize was that the website dialed out overseas. I called my friend who lived across the street and told him, hey, found this website with porn. He was all excited and enjoyed the same fun that day. 2 weeks later I get a phone call. It was my friend. He was grounded. He said he got a bill in the mail for $400 for going on that website. My heart nearly sank into my balls. I went white. I had a panic attack. I nearly cried. I asked him how long he spent on it. He said 30-40 minutes. I was on it for like 4 hours. Exploring porn. Few days later, as I was sweating it out, I overheard my mother scream from downstairs. $2,600 for what? I got the call to come downstairs. I went down. 11 years old. Crying. Ashamed. Embarrassed. Dead man walking. They took one look at me. Said to go back upstairs. I never got yelled at. I was never punished. They knew I had learned my mistake and to never repeat it. Couple years later my father told me they never had to pay the bill. My mother threatened to sue them for making it so easy for an underage kid to be able to access that material. So they dropped the costs and stopped asking for the money. It was squashed. Man. I haven't mentioned this story in over 10 years. And I'll never forget it. This is a good story. Thanks for sharing. I've never seen an opportunity to post this story, so I will now. For context, I'm a girl. So I used to go on this chatroom website called Meebo when I was 12. I would visit rollerplay-based rooms and I would pretend to be 16 years old and would use some very carefully angled photos where I felt it didn't show that I was actually 12 years old and pretty fat. I got into an online relationship with this guy from America who was 23. And although I never went on cam, things got cyberexcel, and he used to tell me how he would take my virginity one day. It only lasted for 6 months, and he was actually pretty sweet. I felt bad that I was lying about my age, but I was awkward looking, unpopular and at an all-girls boarding school, so I guess I just really liked the validation I got from the relationship. So one day he asks me what my address is because he's bought a present that he wants to send to me for my birthday from Japan apparently. Immediately alarm bells start going off and I make up some excuse why I don't want to give my address, although he was pretty pushy about it. After that things felt really weird and I stopped talking to him. I didn't speak to him for like 4 years after, and one day I messaged him and asked him what the present had been as it had always bugged me. He said he had purchased a plane ticket to the UK to come see me in person for my birthday and that's why he wanted my address as he was going to surprise me. I told him then that I had lied really heavily about my age, to which he replied, "You don't think I didn't realize you looked a lot younger in your photos? Obviously you weren't 16 inches. I just absolutely hate to think what would have happened if he did turn up and I waddled to the door in my SpongeBob pajamas. That's probably up there in the most unnerving and scary experiences. That and the time a boy made a Tumblr blog about me and messaged the guy I was fooling around with telling him that he shouldn't have deflowered me and that it should have been him to experience those sweet petals. To experience those sweet petals. What an absolutely neck-bearded, betrayed nice guy thing to say.